Yes, so I fixed the intro. That probably caught me off guard yesterday. How are we doing, everyone? Sammy United People's TV. What day is it? Wednesday, the 19th of June. We're here to talk about Joshua Zirkzee after David Ornstein confirmed that Manchester United's interest is advanced. Not advanced talks, but the interest. Interest FC taking a couple of steps forward. Anyway, we're going to have a conversation this morning around Joshua Zirkzee. Price-wise, no problems whatsoever. But there's a massive red flag with any deal for Joshua Zirkzee, which I think Omar Barada is going to really have to think about. We'll have a little conversation around Jarrad Branthwaite. Simon Stone from the BBC reporting that Manchester United are expected to put in another offer for him. We've already spoken about how much we think that is. We'll have another conversation today. We'll run through the Euros yesterday. Big up Georgia and Turkey, by the way. That's exactly why you watch all the games. Just in case you miss a game like that. Fantastic football. And yeah, you can let me know what you think. Fire in your questions. Fire in your comments. And, well, let's have a good show. Let's enjoy it. Who's here from the Mod Gang? Let's have a quick look. Good morning to you, Gung Shi and Carl. Klein, you're there as well. Ant, you're there. Alex. Who else is down there? Josh, I can see you there as well. Who's here from the member gang? We've got Stephanie, Jordan, Matt, good morning to you. MD Entertainment, Liam Griffin, Breen, Victor, Xiao, Jordan Desmond, Giles Hewitt, good morning to all of you. Who's on Facebook? Ali Connolly, good morning to you. We've got Young Bill, we've got Dylan Daniels, we've got Nathan Wilkinson, Graham Kemp, and Isaac Bandas. Good morning to everyone. Should be a good show today. It feels like we're kind of in the eye of the storm when it comes to Man United transfers, and that's the optimistic version of me. We're hearing Fabrizio Romano reporting that Manchester United are starting to think, oh, okay, maybe we should actually start looking at midfielders as well, which we need to do, but we know we've got our priority list. We know our priority list is first and foremost a centre-back, if not two centre-backs. And then that central midfielder is next. Speaking of central midfielders, segue. Did you see this video yesterday? This absolutely cracked me up, right? So this is Amadou Onana speaking to the press after Belgium's game yesterday. Just listen to this bit here, right? Okay. You can see what it says. Where'd that English come from? That English accent.
Qu'est-ce qui doit changer dans le deuxième match, Amadou?
Marquer des buts.
L'efficacité.
L'efficacité.
Merci beaucoup.
Il a manqué aujourd'hui. Je vous écoute. Andre is not even my name, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Andre's not even my name, mate. Do you know what I mean? It probably caught me off guard, that video. I'd be annoyed if I was Amadou as well, to be fair. So it's a journalist to the side just, oh, Andre, by the way, Andre. I need to hear that one more time.
Je vous écoute. Andre is not even my name, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I like that. He's obviously spent a fair amount of time in England, in Merseyside. He's got himself a little cheeky accent. Luckily for him, it's not a Scouse accent. That would just be bad for everyone. Bad for him too. Gungshi, I can see you down there gifting 5 memberships, just like you have been since the very start of this community, man. And it's exactly what I just said down there.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, come on, Cass.
Good morning. Hello.
That'll be me when I see that Saudi Arabia team's putting a bid for Casemiro. Just bowling around, just goody morning, goody morning. Anyway, right? To the Euros. That game yesterday. That game felt like a knockout round game of football. But it was the first game. Maybe it was because Georgia and Turkey both felt that they really needed to get 3 points from that game. Quality goals. I think pick of the bunch was definitely Gula's goal. But then right at the end, Turkey 2-1 up. The keeper goes up, hits the post just before, off a block to stop it going in. Then the keeper's up. Then you're bursting away. Then it's 3-1. That was a great game of football. Really, really fun. That's like peak knockout international football entertainment. That's what I would have called that game between Turkey and Georgia. I really, really enjoyed it. And Rudy, that annoyed me as well. I'm sitting there going, man, Real Madrid are just collecting these players like stamps. Like Gula, Bellingham, Endrick, Camavinga. All the other ones I got. Ross, you're getting annoyed with me down there saying Saudi won't be buying Casemiro. People need to back down with disrespect towards him because he might be here for the rest of his contract. He should not be here for the rest of his contract. If Manchester United are operating properly, then it will be time to say, Casemiro, man, thank you so much for what you've done since you joined our club. Last year, you were brilliant. You were undroppable last year. But we now need to move on. And as a big part of that is the fact that we need to bring younger players into this squad because the pace of the Premier League is just going up and up and up. And we feel that right now that's not suited to the point where you are at with your career. Thank you so much. You've won everything, but good luck elsewhere. That's not disrespectful. If you want me to explain it like that, then there you go. I've just explained it like that. It's not in any way disrespectful. Well, maybe if I joke about it in the way I'm joking about it there, but Casemiro should not be a Manchester United player next season. And if our club is capable, and we should be moving him on, and we should be reinvesting that into a younger profile, which is what we should be doing. To back this man in midfield. Watched the game yesterday. What did you reckon about the Euros yesterday? I enjoyed it. I'm just enjoying the Euros every day. The first 2 weeks are just fun. 2-3 games a day. I'll run through the games that are happening later. Portugal. Who was it? Was it Tim? I think I saw Tim in the Discord saying, Sam, I enjoy your football analysis and I've now put 50 quid on Portugal to win. I was like, Tim, you must... when that goal went in for Czech Republic, you must have sitting there going, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. Anyway, Portugal came through. 2-1. It was just... You look at that team. You know how Gareth Southgate is... I think he's going to be... You know what I think about Gareth Southgate. I think I made that abundantly clear. But when it comes to Roberto Martinez and Portugal, you look at what happened when like Pedro Neto comes on, they got direct wingers. They look significantly better. When you play certain profiles and certain players, it's not just about... Yeah. Anyway, Portugal weren't that good, but they came through and they won 2-1. And I imagine Portugal will get better as the tournament goes on. But when you got a manager like Roberto Martinez in charge of that Portugal squad, and you've got a manager like Gareth Southgate in charge of that England squad, you just think of how much better it could be. I suppose that the best managers in the world, and this is no disrespect to them, but the best managers in the world are not international managers. They're club managers. They work all year long, every year. International managers are there to play in 2 tournaments in 4 years. The Euros and a World Cup. There's 2 months out of 48 where they're really, really working. And the rest they're doing scouting, they're watching. It's just a lesser level of manager. Well, saying that, Nagelsmann, Germany have got Nagelsmann, so maybe that one doesn't really count. But anyway, Bruno, do you see that pass to Ronaldo? I know it was offside, but... Anyway, good luck to Scott McTominay later today. Scotland are in action and they need to win. I mean, there is still a chance that Scotland go through. They got pumped. They got steamed, absolutely steamed by Germany in that first game. But they play Switzerland. Won't be an easy game. What was the score between... Was it Switzerland beat Hungary last... Was it 2-1? I can't remember what the score was. Anyway, these are the 3 games today. Croatia, Albania. I reckon that'll be a fun one. First game, but you would back Croatia, but they didn't look that strong in the first game. I don't think so anyway. Scotland, I'm going for a draw in that one, but I'm hoping for a Scotland win. Why not? And Germany looked pretty ruthless in that first game. Maybe it was because they played a Scotland team that was just bang. I mean, they were bang average. They completely were. However, let's see what goes on between Germany and Hungary. But that's the Euros chat out of the way. Danny, you got Scotland in the sweepstake. I think, by the way, so the sweepstake that we all did with the members only, there's a wooden spoon for whoever goes out first. But I think I might change that to whoever goes out the worst. Because the team who's going to go out first is according to what order the groups are in. I think that's quite unfair. So I think it's like whoever finishes like bottom of the bottom in the group stage, like worst goal difference and least points. I think that's a fairer way to do it. I apologise, by the way, if the volume is still dipping between that scene there and this scene here. It really is quite a hard thing to figure out. Done loads of Googling. It's not a simple fix. Everything that I've found, I've tried, and I don't know whether it's fixed it or not. But I don't think it has. But anyway, we're going to be having a conversation here this morning about a certain Joshua Zirkzee. Okay? So, Joshua Zirkzee has been linked with United. I'm going to be doing a full... apparently it's fixed itself. That's what you're telling me. It's constant. Well, that's good. That's good. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, I'm not a dipper. Less than that. But anyway. Zirkzee. Zirkzee's been on our list of attacking... I don't know what you want to call him, because Zirkzee's not a striker. Elise's not a striker. Girassi, who is the person I've kind of felt that we would go for, given the amount he would cost and given what we need, then I thought we would go for him, but it looks like he's going Dortmund. Now, this one here is coming from David Ornstein, all right? And I'm going to run through it. So let's run through what the news is. Manchester United are exploring a deal for Bologna striker Joshua Zirkzee. Interest is advanced and the dialogue is with the striker's camp. He's one of multiple options, but we don't really know who the other options are just yet. No club-to-club talks yet, but United are considering an approach and are aware of the 40 million euros buyout clause, which, in the grand scheme of things, is very cheap. Grand scheme of things. Anything in life that is 34 million is not cheap, but in the grand scheme of football transfers, that's cheap. Now, Fabrizio Romano has followed that up with, I suppose he's coming from more the Italian angle, because AC Milan have been heavily linked with Zirkzee, far more than Manchester United have. And they've been leading the way for him. You can see they already have an agreement with Zirkzee. Personal terms are already agreed between Zirkzee and AC Milan. United have not reached that stage yet. AC Milan, of course, are planning to pay that 40 million euros release clause. We can see quite a few of you talking in the comments down there. This has really got nothing to do with the price of Zirkzee. In the lunchtime video today, I'll have a conversation around the profile of Zirkzee. What sort of striker is he? And as I said, he's not a box striker. He's not a Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's not somebody who's going to sit in the box and wait for the wingers to cross it to him. He is somebody who is going to drop deeper than the 18-yard line, come playing with his back towards goal, holding defenders up, bringing other people into play, and having the ability to spin defenders and go in and run in behind on his own. That's more of the player that Zirkzee is. And some of you will feel that that is too similar a profile to Rasmus Hojlund. But I'll be honest, right? I know what the answer is. I want to see what you say. What would you say was Manchester United's best performance last season? What game? There's really not many to choose from. But, of course, it was the FA Cup final against Man City. And in the FA Cup final against Man City, what was it about the tactics that was different? Because I think this is genuinely an interesting conversation, right? And you've put it there as well, actually, right? And I'll go into this in a little bit more detail in the lunchtime video. But the game against City worked really well because we played with a front four with no real proper striker. It was, if I remember correctly, it was Bruno, McTominay, Garnacho, and Rashford. So it was Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right, and it was Bruno and McTominay kind of pushing up to make a flat four, but then dropping a little bit deeper. Our best game this season came when we actually didn't really play with a proper out-and-out striker, because all season long, we haven't played towards the striker. We haven't done it. Hojlund has not had the service. He's had to get the balls to feet. He's had to kind of create it himself. So maybe that's a little bit of a shift that Man United are considering going towards. And maybe that's why someone like Joshua Zirkzee would absolutely tick the profile. He's not a number 9, Ramad. He's absolutely not a number 9. But he could well be a perfect alternative to Hojlund. Ross, I'm not saying that his playstyle is exactly like Hojlund, but Hojlund, right now, last season, the best of Hojlund, probably came... What would you say the best performances from Hojlund came from last season? because I think we saw, and we've had like conversations about this in the comments actually. I feel that in the goodness of time, Hojlund will be better served being pushed further up the pitch. I want to see him sort of in and around the box. Now, Hojlund at Atalanta didn't really do that. And Hojlund at Man United hasn't really done that too much. He tried to do it a lot, but then all the runs into the box were ignored because we never got the crosses in. And then he ended up dropping deeper. You're looking at probably one of the best goals that Hojlund scored this season. Dev Polly reminded me down there, the Galatasaray one, where he received the ball on the halfway line and just burst forward. Just ran with pace and power, and really no one could stop him. In my mind, hypothetically, we signed Zirkzee. I could see Hojlund then being more operating more slightly further forward than he has done last season. If you look at average positions, if you were to compare the average position of Hojlund next season, if we signed Zirkzee, compare it to this season, I think you'd spot that he was playing more towards the box. I think so anyway. We'll fight. Look, it's interesting, and I think that's a debate. But ultimately, the main debate around Zirkzee is this. All right, and maybe I'll put this down as a poll. Because the issue with Zirkzee is not to do with his price, £34 million. It's fine. We can have a debate about the profile, and we've done a little bit there, and I'll do a little bit more in the lunchtime video. But it's mainly around the agent. So his agent, I can't never say his name. Kira Jarrad is like one of those super agents. He wants around about 15 million euros. For Zirkzee to move clubs, right? And that's the question I want to ask you. Not do you think Zirkzee is worth £34 million? Would you want United to sign Zirkzee if it means spending, call it 15 million on agent fees? It's a straight yes or no question. And that's what I personally think is the bigger debate. Because if I'm Omar Barada, right, and I'm coming in and I'm going to become the new CEO of Manchester United, I'm going to be looking at changing things that have happened previously that can't happen going forward. Now, agents have taken over. I don't know how much agents, the numbers come out every year, and like how much agents get paid in the summer window. And you're like, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. Now, maybe Zirkzee has a deal with his agent saying, look, if we get like 15 million commission, you can have 5 million. And then Zirkzee's like, oh, okay, right, I'm fine with that. I get you 5 million in the pocket. We have no idea about that. There are reports suggesting that Manchester United may get a discount if we were to go and get him. I don't know. But whatever it is, that £34 million release clause is not the actual full price for Zirkzee, because you're going to have to add somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 million pounds on top of that. So you're looking somewhere in the region of 40 to 50 million for Joshua Zirkzee. And then you get into the questions and the conversations of should Manchester United be spending 40 to 50 million on that sort of signing, given what we need. And in that sense, you could probably argue that signing someone like Joshua Zirkzee, I don't think it would be as bad as spending 60 million on Mason Mount as a number 8 when we just had no other midfielders. But you could say that Manchester United spending 40 to 50 million overall on Zirkzee, when in reality, maybe we need more of a striker. You could argue that we need a creative right winger, and you could definitely argue that you need a central midfielder first. That's a lot. And I think that's where the fair conversations would probably come around whether or not we should sign Zirkzee. Because if Barada's going to come in and change how United are seen in the transfer market, I don't really think that you can then go about spending 15 million on agent fees to sign a striker who's not really a striker, who's more of a... What position would you call him? Supporting striker? I don't know how it goes. I don't know what the names are these days. He's not really a false. You could say he's a false nine. He's not particularly a false nine, but he's a striker. He's not a centre forward. He's not going to stay in the box. He's not really a striker going to stay in the box. I'm going to call him a supporting striker. Let me see what you're saying in the comments down here. Oh, actually, there's a couple of gifts down there. Man, it's Christmas every day in the comments down here. It really is. You know how rubbish it would be if it was Christmas every day, by the way. It would be bad. Keane, what do you reckon?
You know, he's annoying me. You know, the lads who do the massages.
I know.
The
We're having a
massages.
night out, free bar. They're bringing, then they're coming with all their mates. You're like, you're bringing your mates. You're like, relax. Ow.
Shax, that's you. And to Seven Samurai, how you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Someone's saying shadow striker. Someone's saying false nine. I'm going to call it a supporting striker. I think that one makes sense to me. Let me see what you're saying down here about the agent fees then. Did it. And you're saying, question for me is, does Zirkzee offer enough to justify that investment? Now, basically, to me, on paper, Zirkzee looks like Manchester United are trying to sign somebody where you can take Rasmus Hojlund out of a team, put Zirkzee in, and a lot of the characteristics that happened in that team and the way you play don't particularly have to change massively if you have Zirkzee in there or if you have Hojlund in there. I think some fundamentals of their game are quite similar. Both of them would certainly have the work rate, the ethic. They can play with their backs to goal. I think, what was it? Brighton away was where we saw probably some of the best of that from Rasmus Hojlund. I think we saw it quite good at the start of the season. Actually, not the start. You know, when Hojlund was backing in too much to his centre-backs, really tight, and they were just sticking their toe around and poking the ball away from him. And then he dropped off a little bit, and then he became much harder to defend. Zirkzee's very good with playing it with his back to goal, bringing others into play. And I think that is a good fundamental to have. It's never easy spending on players with United, never is. But, well, you go after certain players and 15 million euros is a lot. And look, as someone's mentioned in the comments down there, and I mean, you could say that. You could say that Manchester United, right, okay, so in terms of the profile of what we want to get this summer, okay, so we're going to go for Zirkzee. That means we've got Zirkzee and Hojlund who could play together. As I said, if Man United used the system that we used against City, but then where would you put Bruno? Because you'd have, I don't know, maybe you put Zirkzee on the left instead of Rashford. I don't know. Anyway, options. What was I going to say there? I've completely forgotten. And then, I remembered. All right, so we want a striker profile. Okay, well, then we'll bring through Wheatley. Would you, type it yes or no in the comments, would you be happy if Manchester United's central attacking options next season were Rasmus Hojlund, Joshua Zirkzee, and Wheatley? Type yes or no. Do you think that will be enough for us? Do you think that'll be good enough for us? Bear in mind, we're only in the Europa League next year. So the level of opposition, European-wise, is not really going to be the Champions League level. I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds like good options. Wheatley's a very different profile of striker. Wheatley is your central. He can play with the ball. He can play, but ultimately he wants to be in and around the box. Quite a lot of you down there in the comments are saying yes. I'd probably say it's around about 80-20 are saying yes. And I'll be honest, I think I personally would, if you go from what we had last season, we had Hojlund and Martial. So basically, we had Hojlund. Right. So to go from Hojlund and Martial to Hojlund, Zirkzee and Wheatley, is that enough for Manchester United to win the Premier League? No. Are we going to be winning the Premier League next season? Spoiler alert. No. Could that then be a year of development for those? I mean, it could be. And then Manchester United, ideally, yep, and you're right there, Amat can play centrally. If you looked at where Amat played for, it feels like that might be what we're going for profile-wise. You know how I've been going on about signing the specialist striker? It might not be that. It might be that we're signing somebody like Zirkzee who could play as a supporting striker, probably could comfortably play on the left if you need him to. Like Rasmus Hojlund can play as a centre forward and could, if you want him to, drop deeper and play good there as well. Michael Elise can play on the right-hand side and can, if you want him to, come through the middle. If that might be how this squad building is going to go this summer. Rather than signing specialists in each position, it's signing somebody who can, if you need him to, play in a slightly different position, but do it really well and do it comfortably. It's going to be an interesting one, but yeah, I can see down there in the comments, and I agree with 800 of you have voted on this one. 66% of you are saying you wouldn't want United to sign Zirkzee if it meant spending 15 million euros in agent fees, and I agree on that. But that would be down to, well, I don't think it would be down to Barada just yet. But ultimately, he would be leading the conversations on, well, it won't be leading on it. He'd be advising until, what is it, July the 13th? United should not be signing Zirkzee if it means we're paying 15 million euros to his agent, but we need to negotiate on that. That would be where the negotiations exist. And I suppose this is why Manchester United don't really need to... Isn't it weird, right? I still find it so weird. It's definitely an age thing, but back in the day, you couldn't speak to players because it was tapping up. You get fined for it. But now it's par for the course that you go and speak to the agents first. But sometimes, like with Jarrad Branthwaite, Man United were given permission, I think. No, was it the other way around? Now, Man United agreed personal terms with Branthwaite before we spoke to Everton with the bid. And in other transfers, sometimes it's the other way around. Manchester United will ask for permission. No, who was it? Chelsea asked Crystal Palace for permission to speak to Elise before they spoke to Elise. Maybe that's because they already agreed personal terms with Elise. I don't really know. Interesting one. I don't think this would be a bad signing in any way, shape or form. And I'm going to run through it in a little bit more detail. I'm going to run through something from The Athletic, and we're going to take a little bit of a mini look at his profile. I'm not going to do a full how would Man United line up with Zirkzee video yet, because, I mean, yeah, calm your boots. I think that would be a bit extreme. However, at lunchtime, I will run through this full transfer story, where it first started, what the murmurs and whispers have been. I'm going to look into the Milan Zirkzee side of things and see how that conversation's gone, because that's ultimately the conversation Man United are about to have. So I'm going to see what's been reported and how that conversation has changed. But I hate agents, man. It really is annoying how much power agents have. It's just grim. It really is grim. And I think I've said this before, but Fergie would not have been a successful manager in this current era. His style, which worked so effectively, would not work with current modern footballers, the power that they have and the power that their agents have. Fergie would have just slapped them upside the head and fallen out with like every single one of them. Would have been funny to watch. Someone sent a super chat. Let me read this. Edward is saying the game plan under Ten Hag for the goal threat is to come for the wings and always has been. Edward, if I was to say the game plan for Erik Ten Hag ultimately, I think I go back to the first preseason where, you know, where we saw Manchester United doing so many cutbacks. The overlapping fullback, the midfielders rushing to the edge of the box, and the fullback then, instead of just firing in and across ridiculously, pulling the ball back to between the penalty spot and the 18-yard box line, and for Manchester United to have a midfielder or attacker running into that space. That, for me, is what is the pattern I saw so much in last preseason, the first preseason. We haven't done enough of those. We've conceded enough cutbacks. It's hilarious. Well, not really funny. But I ultimately see that's what Ten Hag wants. And in that sense, again, the profile of Zirkzee makes sense. Remo, you disagree with me. You say that Fergie would have adapted to the times if you joined this era. See, that's where I disagree. Fergie didn't adapt. He didn't need to adapt. Fergie made everybody adapt around him. I'm not saying that Fergie didn't adapt at all. All right, look at Manchester United when we started the Premier League to Manchester United. We were in 2007-8, 2006, 2009 under Carlos Queiroz when he came in, and we switched to a 4-3-3, more of a continental style. So yeah, tactically he adapted, but in terms of who he was as a manager and how he managed people, it was very much Fergie. Very much Fergie. Just imagining Fergie having comments. How much do you want? So wait, let me get this right. You want 40 million as a release clause. Okay, that's fine. But you want 15 million and you're an agent. Doot, doot, doot. Phone hung up. Anyway. It'll be very interesting to see. I mean, technically, this isn't Omar Barada doing this. But it's going to be very interesting to see if Manchester United can negotiate that down. What would you say? Okay, fire it in the comments. What would you say would be a price that you could swallow giggity, to be paid to Zirkzee's agent, and you don't think it's too outrageous? Right now, 15 million euros is what it is. But 5 million euros. I mean, that's still a ton of money, man. 5 million. Why do you need 15 million euros? So 15 million euros that's around about 30% of the price. Ish. That's not commission. That's nowhere near commission levels. Commission levels are like 10 to 15%. I think you could probably... So what's 10 to 15% of that? 3.4 mil to like... 3 mil to like 5 mil. Something like that. That would be, in my mind, you could... That feels like a commission level amount. Not 15 million euros on top of it. I'll say down here. Quite a few of you. So, total 35 million, says John. They can decide what the agent gets. 4 million, says Onfield. 5 million, says Lawrence. 2 mil, says Dion. 8% of transfer fees, says Ricky Thompson. What's 8% of that? 10% of that is 3.4 minus 340 minus 680 off 3.4. So that's like 2.8 mil, something like that. 5, in my opinion, 4 to 5 million. So totaling overall a package of just under 40 million pounds. Man, 15 mil, it's so nuts. It's so nuts. And as I said, this will be quite important if Man United do decide to, as I said, David Ornstein has said that Man United are really exploring. Jordan, you're saying that are Man United looking at anybody else apart from Zirkzee? As it stands, we go over to the whiteboard. Updated this bad boy. Got Zirkzee down there as orange now because we're, well, let me just update that little snippet on it as well. 1 second there. Ornstein confirms interest is advanced. Okay. Let's do that there. Right, is that updated? Or was it going over there? There you go. That's perfect. That's where we currently are at. I don't think there's anybody else apart from Elise or Zirkzee on the list in terms of attackers. And Elise is not really a central player. He's more somebody who's going to play off the right wing. No one on midfielders yet. I'll move on to midfielders next, actually. And, of course, Branthwaite leading the way in terms of defenders. And Lenny Yoro. Yeah. I don't personally think that anything's going to be happening with Lenny Yoro. I think Man United are genuinely interested in him. But I just think he's going to be going Real Madrid. So we'll see. But that's currently where we're at. And you can see there. Let me see if this is a perfect segue. Not quite the perfect segue, but I'm going to go here anyway. Manchester United currently are not linked with any midfielders. And hopefully that will change now, right? Fabrizio Romano on his podcast saying that Manchester United have started to inquire around midfielders. And if we talk about players who have been linked with us, well, Andre Onana, test. Amadou Onana, we were linked with him heavily across the course of the end of the season. As it stands into the window, not really much has happened. Fofana from Monaco, I'd probably say him, out of all the midfielders, have been linked with the most. João Neves, I had him down as a red earlier. I still think it's a red because the price is simply going to be too much. But again, we've been linked with him. Hojlund from Sporting Lisbon. João Gomez from Wolves. It's been a bit of a weird one. Vifa is somebody who I don't personally think Manchester United will go for. That's like a proper number 6. And I think if he's going to leave Feyenoord, he'd probably go to Liverpool because Arne Slot needs a number 6. And you can see the rest of them. Thuram from Nice, Rabiot, no chance. Kimmich, no chance. Andre, no chance. De Jong, Cunha, Palacios. There's been lots and lots of midfielders who have been tentatively linked to United. If I was to predict any that went further ahead, I would predict probably Fofana. I do think Onana is a possibility. But I think, well, if Manchester United really were serious with Onana, we would have gone in for him before, in the same way that we've decided to go for Jarrad Branthwaite before we've gone for Onana, right? Because the 30th of June deadline is coming up. If we wanted to exert the same pressure on Everton for Onana, we would have done that. I disagree, Jonathan. I think Onana's not bang average. He's not. All right. He's a pretty damn good midfielder. And I could easily see him slotting in profile-wise. Now, Fofana is somebody who, as far as I know, I need to probably watch him a bit more. Fofana's not really, he's more like a number 8. In my mind, he's somebody who is more suited going forward. Like Kobbie Mainoo could be a number 6, but to use Kobbie Mainoo's words himself, which I was going to mention later, that Kobbie is a number 8. I want to be a number 8. You know, I'm good defensively. I'm all right defensively, but I'd rather be further forward. That's how I see Youssouf Fofana. I think he's all right as a number 6, but he'd probably just prefer to be further forward. So I don't know whether he's profile-wise, if he's the perfect one. What we need is somebody who's an absolute monster out of possession. Oi, what was that? A monster out of possession. Somebody who covers the space. But anyway, I did my Jarrad Branthwaite video yesterday. So if you want to, go and check it out. I'm going to be doing a lot more research into Youssouf Fofana, all right? So this isn't really... I appreciate if some of you have watched a bit more of him than I have, all right? I'm not saying that it would be catastrophic. I'm not saying it would be a bad signing in any way, shape or form. It's just I've seen far more of Onana to make a far more rounded opinion than I could do here right now on Fofana. Now, I did my video on Jarrad Branthwaite yesterday, and I just go and watch it, all right? I did a bit more detail about his profile, looked into him, looked at the strengths of his game, spoke about some weaknesses. I think in something I think I've learned from doing that video there is probably need to be a little bit more balanced in looking at the opposite side, because I don't want to get a reputation of just simply hyping every single player and thinking they're all God's gift, because I need to learn from what I did with Amrabat last season. Although I stand by the fact that if we had used Amrabat correctly, then I do think we would have seen more from Amrabat, and I think we saw that towards the end of the season. So I don't actually think I was too far wrong on Amrabat. I just don't think we actually used him in the right way. Don't know what's going on with Amrabat. But Branthwaite, I'm going to move on to have a little conversation about Branthwaite now. If you can, just drop a like on the video. I'm going to press this button here, and we'll move into the second part of the show. Right. So, as I said, Branthwaite, I hope you enjoyed that video. And the word from the Bubs, from the BBC, is this, right? This bit down here. Manchester United are keen to do business early in the transfer window and are expected to improve their 35 mil offer for Branthwaite, which was rejected at the weekend, which we know. So it was 35 million plus, of course, 8 million in add-ons. So 43 million in total. And Jarrad Branthwaite, Manchester United have identified him as a centre-back that they want to sign. And we have argued left, right and centre as a community. We've said about the profile of Branthwaite, the price of Branthwaite, the wages of Branthwaite. Is it the right signing? Is it the wrong signing? I don't think we need to have these conversations again. Maybe if it goes a step further, Manchester United going with a bigger bid. Now, I do not think that Manchester United should be going in for more than 50 mil, right? So although I've got, one second there, let's pull this up. I've got 75, not all these, by the way, you can see down here an important word to understand with these prices. You can see it written there. Where's that? There, that, right? These prices are approximate. They will always be approximate. Because we've made so many of these, it's impossible to get the prices completely right. But Man United should not be going above 50 mil for Branthwaite. All right. It's like being back at school. I'm resisting drawing a dick on the whiteboard. I never did that. Never. It wasn't me, miss. It wasn't me. Absolutely was me. So look, right. So the 75 million was the approximate price that we put on Branthwaite before all the Branthwaite story starts. So this is a little bit out to date. Yeah, we've got a pen here. We've got a pen. Don't worry. But 50 mil is what I would be comfortable with Manchester United paying for Branthwaite. Now, a lot of you don't even think 50 million. And I disagree on that one. But let's see what happens, all right? You're seeing Man United move for Branthwaite. You're seeing Manchester United and the interest in Zirkzee. We're hearing from Fabrizio Romano that Manchester United will be looking at midfielders now. 50 mil for Branthwaite. If reports were correct, remember we did this from the Athletic a while ago, that Man United's net spend this summer, you're going to be looking at in the region of 50 mil. Apparently, because we qualify for the Europa League, that's a little bit more. So let's call it 70 mil. Man United's net spend could be 70, call it 75 mil if you want to get really generous. So if Manchester United were to make, and we should be making this, right? We should be making between 100 to 150 million on sales. So if that's the case, then we should be able to spend in the region of 200 to 225 mil on signings. Ish. Say we spend 200 million and say we make 125 million through sales, then our net spend is 75 mil. So therefore, if we spent 50 mil on Branthwaite, that would leave 150 for another centre-back, a central midfielder, another striker, attacker, at least. Probably a left-back. That's 4 players for 150. How are you saying we're just not going to be making 150 mil? 150 mil is as generous as you can get. But Man United should and could be making between 100 to 150. With Sancho, with Greenwood, with Casemiro, with Lindelof, with Hannibal, with Ericsson, with Van der Beek. That's 7 players. Like, easily 100 mil. And if we don't get 100 mil this summer, then we're just not doing our job properly. And that is up to the new boss man. The new boss man of the football side of the club anyway. Omar Barada. But 50 mil is what I would be comfortable with United paying. And according to the BBC, we are going back in for another offer. We're expected to go back in for another offer. And United are keen to do their business early. We heard this. I wanted signings in before the Euros. Yep. Although, did any club? Has any club made a major signing yet? I don't actually know that. I think Chelsea have signed some 18-year-olds because they're just sweeping all of them up. Has any Premier League club, some have, I might have just forgotten it. Has any top six clubs signed a player who's like starting 11 quality? Anybody? I don't actually know yet. Some people saying, who's West Ham signed? Yeah, I know Chelsea got that Brazilian. Tosin? I suppose you can go. Yeah, you can go for Tosin if you want. Chelsea got him on a free. I suppose. But I think that's quite reflective of the market. So, like, none. Like, we can get frustrated and say that this is United acting slowly, but let's be totally honest, there haven't really been any major signings from any club in the Premier League. So I think it's kind of par for the course. But when it comes to if Man United want to get their deals done early, the start of pre-season is the date where it has to happen. Right? The start of pre-season, which I think, when's the first game of pre-season? Let's have a quick look. I think it's around about the 13th of July. I think so. Fixtures. Oh, man. Pre-season. Close enough. So Manchester United's pre-season starts on the 15th of July. So we've got, what, just shy of 4 weeks? Give Ten Hag the opportunity to play with his squad. It makes a big difference, man. Makes a big difference. Rosenberg, Rangers, Arsenal, Betis, Liverpool. And I'll be honest, right? Typically, I really don't like the Community Shield. I never have. It's just like a false pretense of some sort of cup before the league. But I actually think that will give Manchester United a real opportunity to play our strongest team against tough opposition in front of a full crowd at Wembley 6 days before our first game of the season. I actually think that will really help us fitness-wise and rhythm-wise. I think previously I would look at that as an inconvenience, but this summer I think I'm kind of looking at that a little bit different. And hopefully we can just do the double over City at Wembley. That'd be nice. That would be nice. We'll see. But yeah, if Ineos, if Barada, if Ratcliffe, if they are serious about Manchester United doing our business early, it has to be done before the pre-season. And you're saying we need to prove that the cup final wasn't a fluke. I mean, I don't think that's... No matter what happens in that Community Shield, I don't think you can call that game against City in the FA Cup final a fluke. It was a specific system that was worked on all week. Every player bought into it. Every player was bang on. And you might be able to call it an anomaly, but not a fluke. It wasn't a fluke of a win. It was too confident a performance for it to be considered a fluke. But yeah, if Manchester United can go into that Community Shield and perform like we did in the FA Cup final, it would go some way to giving United some real confidence going into the first game of the season. It's quite an interesting build-up to the season, isn't it? Liverpool in America. I think I'm reading reports that, I don't know how accurate these are, but Man United's pre-season tour, these two aren't included. This is what happened last time. You know, when Manchester United added in extra games before the pre-season tour actually started. Last season it was it Leeds? I think it was Leeds. Who else was it? Didn't we then come back from the pre-season tour and play like Lons and... who else did we play? We played someone else on like the same day. That was mad. Anyway, apparently this pre-season tour here, Manchester United are going to be flying into one... It was Leon. Thank you very much. No, it was Lons. Bilbao. It was Bilbao. Thank you. 10 points, everyone, in the comments. I'm reading reports of Manchester United for this summer pre-season tour. We are just going to be staying at one base. And we're not going to be moving around the country. So I think we're going to be playing, if we look at the locations here. So Sophie Stadium, SoFi. That's in LA. Snapdragon, I think, is that San Fran? And then I think we play Liverpool in South Carolina. I think so. And South Carolina is basically on the way back from California. So I think Man United are going to be like staying in and around one camp around California. All training is going to come out of there. Everything's going to be done out of there. And then we're going to be traveling to those two games. And then people are saying it's San Diego. Is it San Diego? Stop knows. But apparently, there's going to be a little bit less travel. Scott, you've joined in very late. Fergie didn't adapt. Did you even watch his teams play? You might want to listen to the conversation before you leave a comment, Scott. I'll leave that one down there. Snapdragon's in San Diego in California. Oh, there you go. Man, I'd love to go on that. It'll be so much fun just to go to America just to follow United. But there's just... this community doesn't exist if I go out there. So that's a big... And I hope you can all help me on this one. But across the course of this year, not yet, because it's going to take a long time for me to be able to do this. But I want to bring in another face into United People's TV to work with me. A mini-me, if you want to call it. Not actually a physical mini-me. That'd be quite fun. But somebody who can also present these shows, maybe on days where I'm unavailable. That's a big ambition of the growth. And of course, I kind of need someone who's going out there to the games and stuff as well. But that's part of the evolution of United People's TV in this coming season. I need to try and find somebody who wants to be able to present in the same way that, and you're going to need plenty of experience. You're going to need a good setup. You're going to need quite a lot. So it's not just any average Joe. But the main part of the show there today was around 2 players. Joshua Zirkzee. All right. David Ornstein has confirmed that the interest is advanced. We're in conversations over his agent. And I think unless Manchester United can figure out a way to get that agent fee down, I don't think we go for him. Personal opinion. And then you got Jarrad Branthwaite. Right? You got Jarrad Branthwaite. And I think 50 mil is pretty much as it could be for Jarrad Branthwaite. 75 mil is what we had down there originally before the summer kicked off, because we made these quite a while ago. 50 mil is the max I think United should be paying. We'll find out. The BBC is saying another bid's going to come in, so we will see. I'm going to wrap that up for today. I'm going to read last minute or two, as always. Fire in your questions or comments that you haven't that you want me to answer. And you're never presenting, Josh. You're never presenting. You're the men in the background. You keep it running with everybody. All the mods. I need all the mods there. I can't. You know, sometimes, other channels, for example, you can go with people who seem to have some sort of following or creators, and then the people that they bring on are just like awful, abysmal. I need to find that balance between somebody who is a genuine United fan, but somebody who has actual charisma, and somebody who can run 30 tabs at once and have 2 or 3 windows at once. It's there's a lot. Dean, you look at that. You're doing your dissertation on the redevelopment of Old Trafford. Hopefully we can collab at some point. Absolutely, man. I can't remember who it was. Somebody, I think it was last year, a lad reached out to me by email, and yeah, I did an interview with him, and it hopefully helped him get first. I got a 2-2 in my dissertation. You know how annoyed I was at that. I did my dissertation on the Munich air disaster, the social and economic impact of the Munich air disaster on Manchester and England. I went to Manchester. I was this close to getting an interview with Dennis Law. Didn't get it, though. Can't remember why. Anyway, I read a ton of books. Gave me a 2-2 on it. I was like, because my flatmate at the time, Joe, I know you're not watching this, but he did his dissertation like off the back of one book in the space of a week, and he got a 2-1. Fuming. It was at that point I lost faith in the education system. But kids, stay in school. Stay in school. William, you're saying you can travel and still have this live stream. William, I do not think you understand the setup that I have got. You can to a certain degree, but I've got a lot of pride in. I've got a lot of pride in high quality presentation. So that always annoys me when I have to do a video that's kind of stripped back. But I need to let go of that a little bit more when it comes to scaling. You need to be able to, you have to let go of maybe the quality a little tiny bit if it means you can do more. And then eventually you get the quality back up. I need to bring more people onto this channel. I really do. I need more interviews. I just haven't got the time to reach out and get the interviews organized. I need new faces. I've got one idea for a new face. You'll hopefully see him soon. But I'm going to wrap this up now because I'm waffling. I'm going to do a lunchtime video on the full story of Zirkzee. Going to have a little bit more detail on his profile, look at some stats, and try and see where he could fit in. All right? That's going to be today's lunchtime video. Thank you all for tuning in. If you can, please drop a like on this video. I'll be here tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be back here later today after Man United put in another bid for Branthwaite and put in a bid for Zirkzee. I always like the impromptu streams. They're good fun. I haven't seen the House of Dragon yet, and I've muted the words House of Dragon on Twitter. So anybody who mentions anything here, please don't. Take it easy.